Hello and welcome back to the channel. So recently Salesforce has been posting a lot of openings on its portal for both interns and full-time employees. Therefore I decided to cover details about Salesforce in this video. It will be a really detailed video covering all aspects from tech stack to preparation to benefits offered. So without any further ado, let's begin with today's video. The topics that we would be covering today in this video are a brief overview of what Salesforce actually does, the different teams that exist there, the kind of culture and tech stack that you can expect, and the projects and benefits that they offer. We'll also discuss about the GPA constraints, the kind of projects and resume you should prepare, and also an overview of the preparation for data structures and algorithms and other core subjects. We'll also give a brief overview of the interview experience, and in this part specifically I have compiled experiences of a few people together to give a good idea of what types of questions can be expected. So these people are either working as software engineers in Salesforce or they sat for the interviews at some point. So yeah, and also for timestamps, check the video description below and feel free to jump to relevant section of your choice. Starting with a brief overview of Salesforce. Now everyone knows that Salesforce is the world's #1 CRM platform, but Salesforce is much more than a CRM platform. Like it has an 360 offering which helps business simplify and optimize a variety of operations. The various offerings are in form of Sales Cloud, Marketing Cloud, Service Cloud, and many more. There's also a vertical distribution of offerings across different domains like manufacturing, retailing, etc. And not only this, it also works with different governments and also have public offerings like the Community Cloud, Sustainability Cloud, and many more. On top of many platforms, there's also an analytics offering known as Einstein, which helps you leverage the power of machine learning and data science on your vast data residing in their ecosystem. So each of these services and platforms are actually divided as different teams or departments. And if you join Salesforce, you would be joining one of these teams. Now that pretty much covers about the teams as well as about Salesforce. And moving on to the culture, I mean, it's neat. Everyone knows that Salesforce has an excellent culture and it has one of the best work-life balance actually in the tech industry. The management is always there to listen to your problems, if any, and help you. And even in the COVID situation, the company supported its employee in every possible way, provided all kinds of monetary and in-kind benefits. Everyone was allowed to take sufficient leaves to take care of their families. In fact, every month employees get a well-being leave on top of all the casual sick and paid leaves. And the it is actually famous about Salesforce that they refer to their team as Ohana, which is actually Hawaiian for family. And one of the best things about them is that they actually believe in giving back to the community. So employees are highly encouraged to take out time from their normal office hours and do some social work. And for this, they get extra benefits like extra leaves, matching donations from Salesforce. Now, so I mean, this is evident from all the. I can go on and on, but I guess th this suffices to say that Salesforce has an excellent culture. Now, talking about the tech stack actually varies widely across roles and teams. So, there's a different tech stack for people working in data science, ML, from those working on web development. And also Salesforce has also acquired a lot of companies like Tableau, Slack, etc. So, if you join uh, those teams, then you might be using something else. But for most part of the core, you will be working on Spring and LWC. Now, Spring is a Java framework which is famous, and LWC or Lightning Web Component is actually a replacement for React. It's a bit different from React, but like almost same. So Spring and LWC are the two things that you can expect to work. Now, in terms of benefits and pay, the package offered by Salesforce contains a base salary, a joining bonus, a performance-based bonus, and obviously the RSUs or the restricted stock units. Now, above this, you get all the necessary things like your own Mac, iPhone, a desktop, and all the necessary work from home setup. Now, they also give a lot of reimbursements like dental, vision, and well-being reimbursements, which includes a variety of things like gym, massage, spa, health consultation, yoga, cooking, and many more. So I mean, this is something which I think is really employees might look forward to. Now, for interns also obviously get a monthly stipend and all the other benefits like work from home reimbursements, etc., which normal employees get. And the best part used to be the 2 month 5-star hotel stay that they used to give to their interns. But like if you're going to intern during the pandemic, then I think you might not be able to enjoy this benefit. So yeah, that pretty much covers the general info. Now moving on to the requirements. The GPA cutoff for applying was 7 for on-campus placements. And as I said, Salesforce has been aggressively hiring through their off-campus drive, and you can go on their portal and look for relevant openings and reach out for referrals via LinkedIn. So all their openings have the particular criterias that the requirements which they might like to see in while shortlisting the resumes. So just take a look if you are fit for the position and go ahead and ask for a referral. Now talking about the preparation. So for Salesforce, try and do a holistic uh, preparation according to me. Like what I mean by that is cover DSA as well as core subjects. So the DSA questions mostly are the questions present on Geeks for Geeks and Lead Code. So uh, after sufficient practice, you might actually get a question that you have already solved on Lead Code. But like I personally prefer understanding the concept and then trying to figure out the solution on the spot, because for me the problem is that even if I do a question 6 times, I and somebody gives that question to me for the 7th time, I still won't able to uh, recognize or recall the logic that I used the last 6 times. So I would have to start fresh every time. So I mean, if your concepts are clear, then there's a high chance that even if you haven't seen the question before, you will be able to solve it. So just try practicing on lead code as much as you can. I mean, and make sure that you're clear with concepts, because the questions are like, according to me, are somewhere in the medium category only. So they are not really hard questions, which you and you wouldn't need some extra skill to solve them except good understanding of the concept. Now, and one thing I can add here is that you can probably skip advanced data structures and advanced algorithms. So there's a rare chance that they might ask you a question from that. Also, remember that you would have to write the code and test cases and run your code on all the test cases in the interview. So be mindful of corner case handling. I mean, while you're thinking of the logic, while you're explaining it to the interviewer, and while you're writing the code, just see that you have covered all the corner cases, because you would have to yourself write the corner cases and the test cases and then run your code on them. So so be mindful of corner case handling while practicing as well as during the interview is what I would like to add. And in the interviews, you can expect questions from object-oriented programming, database management systems, and operating systems. And none of my friends got questions from networks or computer architecture, so I am assuming that they do not pick up these subjects for interviews. Now, I'll try to cover their questions in the interview section of the video. But for studying these topics, I think you can refer to your prescribed books, but that might be a that might be a bit lengthy, or I mean, there might be a lot of inertia in doing all the prescribed material. So you can always refer to online resources like Geeks for Geeks, Tutorial Point, Knowledge Gate, YouTube channel, or any other resource which you find is good enough for you. Now, in the second round, generally they also ask you to design a system using the object-oriented programming concepts, where you have to design a lot of classes representing the entities and then define their data as data members of class and the functionalities of these entities in form of member functions. So this is kind of a low-level design question, but if you're well versed with the object-oriented programming concepts, I think uh, you would be easily able to solve these questions, and these questions are more like discussions rather there's no specific right answer, and I'll discuss about these in detail in the next section as well. So that sums up the preparation part. Moving on to the resume and projects part. So in terms of resume, prepare your resume carefully, because obviously there's resume shortlisting, but even during interviews people do go through their do go through your resume, and then many times ask question based on what you have mentioned. So like mentioning something you haven't actually worked on would not be a really good idea in my opinion. And there are definitely going to be a lot of questions about your previous experience and projects in the hiring manager round, which is generally the third round. So, and as always, having good internships and projects would be really helpful during the complete procedure. Since the time of interview is limited, the longer discussion you have on your resume, the lesser DSA or CS questions you would have to solve. So, logically, it always makes sense to have good previous experience and projects on your resume. Now, moving on to the interview experience. So, as I mentioned before, I've compiled a lot of questions here that were given to different people, and I'll be discussing all of them together. So, just a disclaimer that all these questions were not asked to a single candidate. So, like, don't be intimidated. These are actually a kind of a question bank compiled from the experiences of a lot of people. Now, the first round after resume shortlisting is the online test on HackerRank, where you can expect 3 DSA questions. The questions in this test are generally harder than the ones asked in the interviews, but still all the questions are solvable. Like even if they're harder than the interviews, they're still in the medium category, I'll say. And using the and most of the questions are based on the generic data structures and algorithms, so nothing fancy there. Now, talking about the first interview round, for one of the candidates, the interview one was mostly around his projects and resume. His expertise was in web development, so he was given a question and asked to write the CSS, HTML, and JavaScript code for that particular question. He was also asked some random questions like the difference between JSS and C++ in terms of the null and undefined values, and then basics of JavaScript, etc. And in terms of DSA, people were asked questions from graphs, linked list, trees, DP strings. These included questions like converting a tree to a doubly linked list, regex matching, finding shortest and longest distance between 2 points in a graph, then number of inversions in an array. Which and all of these questions are pretty standard questions which you can find anywhere. So uh, I, I I think that gives a good idea of what you need to prepare in DSA. And the first round also included questions from object-oriented programming. So go through all the concepts of object-oriented programming. And now talking about the second round, so DSA questions in second round included converting tree to forest by deleting nodes, finding the highest key elements of an array. And if you know that the famous approach for solving this question is using a heap of size k, so the candidate also had to implement his own heap for solving the question. So couldn't use the uh, inbuilt container or the heap which is present in HTL or your Java util. Now, So, and apart from these data structures and algorithm questions, there were questions from the resume and also object-oriented programming. So, as I mentioned before, second round is mostly focused on design part, wherein either you have to use object-oriented programming and design the structure, or you have to design the database schema and define the kind of APIs you're going to use. And sometimes there are follow-up questions on these as well, like if you're using this API or if you're using this database, what kind of optimizations you can use, optimization in terms of indexing, load balancing, etc. So that is there, but design rounds are mostly discussion rounds, and even if you don't know a lot of things, it is fine. Like interviewer keeps giving hints and keeps discussing to help you improve your approach and rectify your mistakes. So it is really important to think out loud in this round and not sit quietly and try to come up with a perfect design just in one go. So also there's nothing like perfect design. Every design is flawed, which is this is a very famous statement. So it's like discussion with the interviewer where you tell your ideas, the interviewer tells explains what flaws he can see or what improvements he can see, and then iteratively you improve your design. So it's a pretty interesting round in my opinion, and I really enjoy these design rounds. Now, also in the second round, there are questions from operating systems and DBMS. So these includes questions about locks, indexing, multi-threading, concurrency control, deadlocks, etc. So these are the famous topics from these subjects. So there's nothing different here. Now, third round is mostly hiring manager round, which is a generic round with few light questions, mostly from object-oriented programming. But most part of this round is focused on resume and discussing previous experiences, your projects and internships. Then there are also behavioral questions as well as I mean, these behavioral questions are just an attempt to test your compatibility with the team and your response in situations of conflict or pressure situations. So it's a nice interactive round. Also, you have opportunity to ask a lot of questions. So do not hesitate to ask questions. You should definitely ask about the kind of tech stack, the projects, the role, team culture, and what are the extra opportunities in the company in terms of fun and sports, etc. apart from the usual work. So it's a pretty interactive round where the hiring manager just tries to judge whether you're a good fit for his team or not, and you try to judge whether you will be a good fit in this team or not. So I guess this pretty much sums up all the information I had about Salesforce. I hope you found this video helpful. In case I missed something, do mention in the comments. I always actively answer all the queries in the comment section. So I guess that's it. We can end this video at this point. Thank you for watching. Stay safe and keep learning.